to all of you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Yes, sir.
Good morning, sir.
All well?
Yes, sir. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Many of you have sent me comments on, or rather, your observations on the cost accounting data. But unfortunately, the comments are not in the form in which these were expected. So I will once again give you two, and then based on that, you may perhaps revise your analysis, you may revise your thinking. So shall I start now? It is almost 8. And how many of you have joined so far? Say 73 of you have joined. Hmm. So you may kindly write your roll numbers. If still you have not written, write your roll numbers, please. Now look at the, I wish to explain to you what, in what ways the comments expected. So I'll open the slide. Now look at the uh, look at just this figure. That is main figures. Total cost 9,000, total revenue 10,000, and profit is 1,000. Isn't it? So this is okay, 10%. And if you think that industry average is also 10, 11, 9, something like that, we are happy. But if you look at percentage contribution, then the next question that arose was, what should company do with A? I mean, same thing we did here also. So what should company do with A? It is producing 40%, and what should it do with C? It is making no profit, no loss. So what was the analysis? We could discuss a lot. After discussion, maybe after discussion of 1 or 2, 3 paragraphs, we come to the conclusion that what conclusion could just let me see if you can recall. Can anyone recall, or should I say the product be is such without which a company cannot run? So the first decision would be that the product should not be discontinued. The example I gave you was this is the main Apple this cell phone, and this is the accessories that company is producing. That will not perhaps be sold because or another example you can say the laptop and it's configured a printer, or further deep example you can take this is the printer and this is the cartridge. So printer will work only if the cartridge is available. So if the cartridge that fits into a particular printer is, but the cartridge people cannot produce. So we have to see in economics class you must have learned the concept of supplementary product and complementary product. If you can recall those concepts are to be applied. So this was one conclusion. Now second conclusion, rather more important, should be that when management is same, when managers are same or top management is same, why is it that our one of the product is giving losses. This you need to divide into two categories. Why is the product giving us losses? You need to divide into two categories. That could be controllable factors and uncontrollable factors. See, what could be uncontrollable factors? If there is a loss in a product, the question I asked you, there can be some factors which an organization can control, and there can be certain factors which are very difficult by the organization to control. Can you think of examples of controllable and uncontrollable? Just think of example only uncontrollable factors. What could be the factors which could be beyond the control of an organization? Any answers?
So government policies.
Okay, one is government policy. Okay, then
Inflation.
or okay, fine, then okay. Let me ask you another question before I give you the answer for this. Suppose you are working for this company, the data is available. You see that you are managing all the three products A, B, and C. B is giving you 33% loss. What will be your stepwise reaction? What would you do as step number one? Ideally, you should look at the same product being offered by the competitors and see what is their profit or loss, what is their situation. Are they making some profit on this product, or there is overall loss in this product in the industry? Somebody said inflation, somebody said government policy. Likewise, many of you can provide many answers, but don't you think these are all common and applicable to every firm operating in the industry, isn't it? Suppose the company says, suppose the government says that the GST on these products would be raised from 10 to 20%. So the products are likely to be expensive, but do you think they will be expensive only for your company or for all the firms operating in the industry? They will be expensive, they will become expensive or cheaper depending on the policy for all the companies. Same is true about the inflation. So what you would do, you would see what is happening in the competition, what is happening with other firms. If everyone in the market is more or less in the same boat, then you have some side of relief. Everyone is suffering because of several reasons. If yours is only the one, then you will take a second step and find out what are the areas in which we are spending more compared to others. I'll repeat the sentence, then I'll go to the next slide. The sentence I said, what are the areas in which we are spending more either compared to others or compared to our own products. Having said this, now I come to this slide. We are spending 40% of raw material here. In case we are spending 33%. It is lesser than what we are spending here, but still we are making profit here. If you look at here, we are spending 2,000 sales we are making and 2,000 raw material. That means we are spending 100% of the revenue on raw material. We are spending 50% of our total sales revenue on this what we call labor. We are spending 1,000 on overheads.
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, in the C column of total cost, shouldn't it be 3,000 to make it 9,000 total cost? Is it right?
This you can. 1 minute, hold on. hold on. See, the data I had sent you perhaps yesterday on 2 slides. That data let me open. There were some minor this one calculation, costing comment from the students. I think is it no? I'll open that slide, and then perhaps the slide that I sent you. Can you open that slide? The slide
Yes,
that was
sir.
sent to you. Open that slide.
It was correct in that slide. I mean, it was 3,000.
That was corrected. So after correcting the data, the idea behind giving you these figures is, or we started with the fact that what were the comments expected. So let me tell you the comments once again. I think somebody is still trying to, everyone is allowed, everyone is in. There are no pending people. Okay. So the kind of comments were that we need to see what are these reasons because of which we are, suffering losses or we are making profits in the absence of data in these columns, which I am highlighting. I have highlighted 4 columns. In the absence of these columns, which are not available in the profit and loss account, if I stop here, which are not available in the profit and loss account, we are satisfied with this one. As we go further and further take several steps, we are in a position to take much better decision. Let me give you a few more examples. Here we are spending 600. So this I have given you 26% that we are spending total on labor. We are spending 26% of our amount. But if you look at product A, or if you look at product B, on product B, 1/3, there is 33% we are spending. On product C, 50% we are spending. When our average of labor is 26, less labor is being spent on this. Is the labor of doing product B more efficient compared to C or compared to A? Or these products are, one of them is labor extensive and other one is capital intensive. So there are several, hundreds and hundreds, dozens of questions, dozens of analysis which is possible, and only if we have databases. Which data? Cost accounting data. So the purpose was, again, look at the first slide, costing as an aid to management. What help, what assistance does cost accounting data provide to management compared to the data that you have from financial accounting or from management accounting? Can you recall financial accounting and management accounting? Ratio analysis. In which accounting will you classify? Cost, financial, or management? Any answer? Should be simple.
Financial.
See, in financial, you only tabulate the results up to profit and loss account. Financial accounting is confined to recording, classifying, and summarizing. It only places before you that this is the result. This much is profit or this much is loss. These are liabilities. When you take one more step, you analyze why is it so, why not more, why not less. Is the company financially sound? Is the company financially weak? What more can be done? If you do so, you are resorting to management accounting. So financial accounting will be confined to only legal aspects, which is required by law. In management accounting, you will take further decisions which will help all stakeholders take better informed, good decisions. See, if you are working as, if you are a party to the company and you are supplying services on credit, Financial accounting is of course necessary, but you will not take a decision of extending credit unless you analyze financial data. So you will calculate various ratios, you will calculate funds flow, you will calculate several things, percentage, and then only you will take a decision, should I sell it or I should not sell it. So ratios will be part of your management accounting. Then you will come to further assistance of management in the form of cost accounting. So we tabulate data and see what are controllable factors, what are uncontrollable factors. If they are controllable, see, one of the uncontrollable factor is the market in the market. But again, this market and all again are to some extent, not in general they are, but to some extent they are firm specific also. I mean, not rarely, but in some cases it may also happen that most of the firms, 80% of the firms suffer, but 20% do not suffer. They have got such good system. They suffer, but not to that extent to which others suffer. But by and large, market-driven factors. If overall there is slum in the market, if overall there is no demand, then naturally every company will face problems. If overall labor is expensive, then everywhere labor will be expensive. For every firm, labor will be expensive. But within that also, those firms which are smart, they manage in time and they can reduce their cost. So cost can be reduced only if you have cost data. If cost is reduced, profit naturally will increase. Either you increase your revenue or you control your expenses. In any case, both will lead to the profitability. So think on these lines, refer to some books, and once again try. If not, I'll give you in writing 2-3 so that it gives you a better idea. If you have any question here, please ask. Otherwise, I'll start. Yes. Yes, please. Are there any questions?
Sir,
Yes, please.
I asked in the second slide, the total cost is 9,000. I think it is the
Okay,
sum
okay.
of A, B, and C. Total cost
So
of A, B, and C.
okay, okay.
But if we sum 3,000, 3,000 plus
Okay,
4,000,
this
it is
data,
a
I know this data, if you change it to, see, let me do it here itself, because these two may differ. What I sent you could be a different one. I have sent you two slides only yesterday to work upon. It is such a simple thing. We can change it here itself. For example, if this is 3, so in this way 9,000 criteria will meet. Now we do it row wise also. If we make it 1, it will do the needful. But this figure 50, 26, 24, 90 percentage to sales. Let me just write it here. It will make it more clear. Percentage to total sales. What is this? This percentage is referring to 5,000, 50%, 2,600, 26%. I will repeat. What is the meaning of this 50? The company is spending 50% of its total revenue on raw material. Company is spending 26% of its total revenue on labor. Company is spending for 24% of its total money on labor head, on overheads. So this is what we wanted to convey. But in any case, this is, see, if it is 50%, it will be changed now, because 2 plus 1 plus 1, it would make it to 4,000. Like this percentage change in this data, because I sat down once again once I received a comment from 2 of you, 3 of you, and changed the data. So this would make not the difference. What we are interested in how to make use data. It is such a simple thing. Put it in the system, or even 2,000, 3,000 can be calculated manually also. Our concentration is in what way can the improvements be made, in what way can we to go a step further. Let us say you have this data of phase 1. Do this data for 2, second, third, fourth phase, and then see last time, last week, last month, or whatever is your cycle of phase, we were spending 40%. Why? Or we have become casual in buying raw material? Are there any pilferages? What is do? Any other question?
Sir, Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Yes, please.
सर रिगार्डिंग कमेंट्स, सर मैं ये जानना चाह रहा था कि मतलब मैं एग्जांपल दे रहा हूँ और आप मुझे करेक्ट कर सकते हैं कि क्या इसी फॉर्म में देना है या फिर कैसे। तो जैसे यहाँ पे रॉ मटेरियल्स दिया हुआ है सी के लिए 1000
जी
एंड 1000
ओके
50% ऑफ टोटल रेवेन्यू। तो क्या मैं ये कह सकता हूँ कंपेयरिंग इट विथ ए बी एंड सी एंड से कि सी जो है प्रोडक्ट सी में जो मशीन्स इस्तेमाल हो रही हैं वो अच्छा परफॉर्म नहीं कर रही हैं या उनमें
वेरी गुड व्हाई नॉट वेरी वैल्यूएबल why is it that we are taking same thing could be said about labor also. We are spending 50% of its revenue on labor. In this case we are spending just less than even not even 60, we are spending 30%. Why is it that 50% of our revenue has gone towards labor, while in this case it is only 30%? In this case it is 50%. Why is it is 60% here? You're right, that way this is how it has to be told. And once we know, then only further analysis, further comments can be made.
And sir, another thing I have to say, कि sir, I can understand कि product C is in loss, but then sir ये data सिर्फ एक साल का होगा and ये overall कुछ सालों का नहीं है। तो
I have before you could ask this question, I have already written here. Say this is phase 1. So what we do, that we calculate data first for one phase. We may not, maybe second time, third time, we tabulate this data over several phases. You may perhaps note, not necessary, but maybe that in second, third, fourth phase, the losses of C could be reduced, or C could become profitable, B may be giving loss, or none of them could be giving loss. But that would be possible only if you had data of first phase, you took corrective measures in first phase. That would have resulted something better in phase 2. That would have resulted something much better in phase 3. And suppose no improvement is shown up to phase 3, up to phase 4, then you need further investigation. You need to hire some consultant. You need to seek advice of your senior. You need, but all these things are possible only if we have data. That is why I wrote it. So what is important? The important part is to tabulate the data, to put the data in right perspective, and then to analyze. Now we move on to okay. Now we move on to another topic which is included in your syllabus next as per our day's calculation, and that is the that is related to, once we have costing department with us, once we know how to calculate that data, we we use the data in lot of things. We use the data for taking several decisions. So one of the head is cost, volume and profit analysis, or it is also known as operating leverage. There is one more name of the same this thing: cost, volume and profit analysis, operating leverage. There is one more to the name to this analysis. In your economics class, have you studied the concept of break-even analysis?
Yes, sir.
This is exactly the same topic, so I will not cover it in much detail because you have already covered. There are 2-3 topics. Sorry. This topic overlaps in 2-3 subjects. One is accounting, one is managerial economics. The third one perhaps could be production management. Are you studying production management in this semester?
No, sir.
No, so that you will study in second semester. So in economics, so there the emphasis would have been on the production side, where the focus would be the managerial. No, sorry, not managerial. Here the focus would be on financial and profitability side. So this operating leverage for cost, volume, and profit analysis is another name of break-even analysis. Okay. In the break-even analysis, can any one of you tell me what all have you studied? Have you studied the meaning of break-even analysis? What it is?
Sir, revenue should be equal to the cost.
Okay. Okay. Have you studied what are the assumptions? You said revenue should be equal to cost. Make a bit more, refined.
So it is a state when the production of a material we are producing is at that stage where we have neither profit nor loss.
Okay. Can you a bit elaborate on the word revenue and cost? It is better to say the total revenue should be equal to total cost. If our total revenue is equal to total cost, it is a situation which we call as break even, isn't it? The meaning
Yes,
you
sir.
have learned. Break even means a situation at which our total revenue is equal to total cost. Taking an example, one can say, suppose you worked out break even, your answer is 2,500 units. Anything I can assume, you can assume any data. Our answer is 2,500 units. Can you tell me what is the interpretation of these 2,500 units?
So we need to produce at least 2,500 units so that we shall have been in that state that we will neither have any profit or nor we would suffer any loss.
Okay. Can you say this sentence again? We need to
Produce 2,500 units to
hold
make
on. Is there anyone who can identify one small error in this sentence? This sentence suffers from one minor limitation. It is to some extent, not 100%, to some extent is incomplete.
At least 2,500.
Okay. Any other answer? Okay. Now let me ask you, under which assumption this statement will be true? Are there certain assumptions under which this statement will be true? Okay, let me
keeping all other factors constant, such as labor and all.
Okay.
Raw material.
Go ahead, continue.
Then that's another thing we need to keep constant. The other cost, like which
Anything else?
Also.
Nothing. All right. See, the subjects like managerial economics or accounting or other subject that you are studying in this course, all subjects, as you know, all belong to social science. Whenever there are laws in social sciences, they are all subject to certain assumptions. If I say the demand of this product is increasing, generally you will say that the price will also increase, isn't it? But again, it is subject to certain assumptions. Price will increase only if the supply remains constant. Price will increase only if the quality remains constant. Likewise, you have several assumptions. Similarly, when you said if we are able to produce 2,500 units, at the same time you must have also said if we are able to produce and sell 2,500 units, isn't it? Suppose you have produced but you have not sold. So that means there are certain assumptions. So meaning is clear to you. Assumption I am talking, it will take time to write. I will dictate. You can note down in your answer book. Take out your pen and a piece of paper. Write down assumptions. Assumption number 1. Assumption number 1. Per unit sales price remains constant. Per unit sales price remains constant irrespective of volume of sales. I'll repeat. Per unit sales price remains constant irrespective of volume of sales. Assumption number 2. Per unit variable cost remains constant. Per unit variable cost remains constant irrespective of volume of production. Third, fixed cost remains constant. Third is fixed cost remains constant. Next, there is no other category of cost. There is no other category of cost, that is fixed cost and variable cost. There is no third category. There is no semi-variable cost. Next, production and sales. Production and sales are synchronized. Meaning thereby is whatever is produced is sold. Whatever is produced is sold. Next assumption. In case of a firm, producing more than one product, in case of a firm producing more than one product, sales mix remains constant. Sales mix remains constant. So these are a few assumptions. If those assumptions are not met, our statements about break-even will be incorrect. I'll explain to you how. One of you has said, and rightly also, that if we are able to produce, now let us add, if we are able to produce and sell 2,500 units, we shall break even. Our firm will neither suffer any loss nor will we make any profit. But this statement will be true only if our per unit variable cost was constant, if our sales price per unit were constant, like all those 4 or 5 assumptions that I have dictated to you now, they were met. If there was something wrong in any of those assumptions, our answer or our statement will be incorrect. For example, how many units did I assume? How many units in the example I assumed?
2,500.
2,500. And suppose our sales price was rupees 10. You note down these figures. Sales price rupees 10, variable cost rupees 6, fixed cost rupees 10,000. Tell me, what have you noted? One of you can tell me what all have you noted once again. Sales price?
Price is equals to 10.
Sales price rupees 10. Okay, variable cost?
Rupees 6.
Correct. Fixed cost?
10,000.
10,000. Now suppose your answer was 2,500. Under what condition this statement will be true? I assumed that we are selling each unit for rupees 10. Of all 2,500 units that you should have sold, each should have been sold at rupees 10 only. If somebody came to buy 10, you would have given them for rupees 100. If somebody visited to buy 1,000 units, how much you would have charged?
10,000.
10,000.
If somebody wanted to buy 2,000 units, 20 or less. 20 or less. How much would you have charged? 20,000 or less than 20,000?
20,000.
20,000. If somebody came to buy 1 unit,
10.
and suppose both the clients are standing next to each other. I am trying to buy 1 and your classmates, a rich person, is trying to buy 2,000. Will you give any concession to somebody who is buying 2,000, or you will also charge at the rate of rupees 10?
Sir, we will not give any concession.
Okay. You will not. So this is the assumption under which it operates. Now listen to a small incident, not a small incident, something, a moral story carefully. Either note or don't note, but listen to it carefully and come up with your answer tomorrow. What is the story? Somebody is selling watermelon. तरबूज नहीं है, कुछ भी प्रोडक्ट मान लीजिए, तरबूज, खरबूजा, आम, कुछ भी मान लीजिए. Somebody is selling watermelon and he has put up a board. एक उन्होंने बोर्ड प्लेकार्ड लगा रखा है. If you buy one watermelon, it will cost you $3. Or maybe suppose like this, it is written 1 watermelon equal to $3. 1 watermelon equal to $3. 3 watermelons equal to $10. 3 watermelons equal to how many dollars?
$10.
$10. Stop. This is the only placard. This is the only, something which is being displayed. The answer I expect from you, not in the group, but individually on the WhatsApp message, on my this private message. Is the businessman smart or fool? Is he smart or fool? Just send your answers on my personal number as a private message. We continue with our discussion, that assumption. So assumptions, in the absence of that, I asked you to write one more assumption. What was the last assumption? What did you note in the last?
In case of a firm producing more than one product, sales mix remains constant.
Sales mix should be constant. Okay. What does it mean? What does this mean? It means sales mix means percentage of sales of total. See, in our example, I'll explain to you with the help of this example. Just one second. What is the sales mix here? In all, firm is selling for how much? 10,000. A is how much? 50%. B is 30%. Is it right?
Yes, sir.
C is
20%.
20%. That is of total, you are calculating the percentage. If in all you are selling for 10,000, 50% A, 30% B, 50%, 20% C. When I say sales mix, this is sales mix. When we say sales mix should remain constant, I mean, suppose you are not selling for 10,000, you are selling for, just let us say you are selling for 20,000. Your sales figure is 20,000. If your sales figure is 20,000, assumption is that it should be sold in the same ratio. How much should you sell for A? A कितना की revenue होना चाहिए?
10,000.
10,000. B should be
6,000.
and C should be
4,000.
4,000. When we say sales mix should remain constant, if our sales is increasing or decreasing, it should increase or decrease in the ratio in which we were originally selling. Sales mix should remain constant means we should increase it in the same ratio or decrease it in the same ratio. This is what the meaning of sales mix should remain constant where? So I come back to this once again, assumption. So all the assumptions are clear to you now. When you say, now what is the, why should we study these assumptions at all? See, we are understanding, we are using a concept. We are understanding, we are trying to know the meaning of a particular concept under cost. Naturally, reading it or studying it, learning it has to have some application. It should be useful in the real life of a company. It is useful. We are telling somebody, in order to break even, you should do this much, correct? But should we know its assumptions also? Or assumptions are not necessary? Are we spent maybe half an hour on this? Are these necessary, or we have just like that written them?
So they are necessary.
Okay, they are necessary. Why are they necessary? Can you give one example only?
Sir, if we take we don't consider them constant, then it will make very difficult for us to calculate, and every time the break-even cost will change.
Okay. Anything else? Correct. Anything else?
So it makes the calculation much easier.
Okay, fine. Anything else? Any other observation? See, the assumptions are necessary from the real life point of view. Assumptions are necessary from the point of view of actual working in the life of a company. When you actually sit in the office, when you actually make these calculations, from that point of view, assumptions are necessary. Suppose you are working as a manager. Unless you inform the owners, okay, look here, we have told you that you should sell for 10,000 rupees in order to break even, but this should be done. If you don't do so, you just raise your revenue of 10,000 rupees, you will not break even. You will still be suffering losses, or you will still be making certain gains. Likewise, it has several important behavioral considerations also. What is the importance of break even? What is the importance? Having known the meaning and having also learned it in other subject also, can you tell me what is the importance of this concept break even, or what is the importance of calculation of break even?
To avoid losses.
Okay. By the way, can we avoid losses by calculating break even? Okay.
Sir, it helps in the cost management.
Cost management. Any other answer? Okay, let me tell you. Suppose in the department, in your after your evaluation, we have absolute marking, not grading. We have absolute marking. And as a student, you do not know that after scoring how many marks you will be placed in first division. Suppose as a student, you do not know. You have no idea that you need to secure 60% to get first division, or you need to score overall 70% to get first division, or 80% or 90% or 40%. You have no idea. How will you aim at securing first division? The target is not before you, or rather target is not known to you. So it will be very difficult for you to aim at first division without knowing the target. Now you know that you need 60%. So you will look at your percentage of marks obtained in first semester. Then you will look at in second semester. In second semester, you come to know that your average is 58. Then you will think, okay, if I put in little more effort, in third semester, it can go up to 62. In fourth, even if I secure little less, overall, I'll be able to get 60%. Unfortunately, I'm saying, of course, none of you will all pass with good grades. Somebody scores 45% in first semester, 50% in second semester, again 49% in third semester. So can he, or would he aim at obtaining a 60% in fourth semester? because target is known to him, efforts are also known to him gradually, so he may not. So of course all of you will put in that in the first example. Therefore, if the target is known, only then efforts are applied. So it has got several behavioral advantages as well. Now we come to the next part of our discussion. Having understood, so see, I was explaining you the sales mix. Sales mix I explained to you. Similarly, other assumptions have to be borne in mind. Other assumptions have to be borne in mind, and then only we may perhaps we may send our recommendations to management that this is how the break-even we should try to aim at or reach at. Anything else you want to know up to this stage? Meaning?
Sir, efforts.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Sir, efforts needed as well as the extra efforts that were put in and didn't need, those need to be decreased as well.
No, you need not to decrease efforts. Why should you? Suppose 60% is first division, you are comfortably placed at about 65%. Would you not like to go for 66 or 70%?
No, not in this particular example. I'm talking.
Okay, let us take example. No. Good. Very good. Let us take example of the company. A company thinks that by making these many efforts, it will break even. Will it not like to go for a higher profit? First of all, profit, then higher profit. Suppose it thinks that by selling 2,500 units, it will break even. Then will it confine itself only up to break even, or it would like to sell more so that it gets some profit? Then would it not like to sell more and more so that it gets more and more profit? Will company like to do this or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Therefore, once the target is known, see, your target is bare minimum. You must do this much to avoid losses. When I told you an example of 2,500 units, one of the way of explaining you was that at 2,500 units we will break even. Another way of explanation of that could be, unless we sell 2,500 units, we will suffer loss. To avoid any losses, we should sell equal to or more than 2,500 units. All the statements that I am making are correct or not? Yes or no?
Correct, sir.
Yes. See, this is how the multiple choice questions are framed in the examinations and asked. This year, as I told you yesterday also, I will not be evaluating you. Suppose I was evaluating. Each day I ask you 1, 2, 3, 4, several questions. The same questions will be repeated also in the examination. See, this particular question, I may give 4 statements. Statement number 1, if we sell 2,500 units, we shall suffer no loss. If we sell 2,500 units, we will make no profit. We need to sell 2,500 units to avoid loss. We need to produce 2,500 units to avoid any loss. And I ask you A, B, C, D, which one is incorrect sentence? Which one was it?
D.
D, because we are not concerned with production, we are concerned with production and sales. So this is how it becomes a multiple choice question. So likewise, it can be done. Any other question from your side? Do you remember the question that I asked you? Can somebody repeat? For which you have to send me a private answer.
Yes, sir.
What is it? Repeat.
A seller is selling watermelons.
Selling watermelon.
One watermelon price $3 and 3 watermelons price $10.
Okay.
Is the seller smart or fool?
Okay, smart or he is not smart. Let us be positive in our use of words. So is the businessman smart or he is not as smart as he should be? And you should send me the answer with your reason. You should not say he is smart. You should not say he is not smart. He is smart because 1, 2, 3. He is not smart because 1, 2, 3. Something related to not break even, but just I read somewhere, so I thought to share with you and see how do you react to this. Any other question, or can we call it a day?
Sir, yesterday you gave an example of Apple, like Apple selling accessories and suffering 33% losses.
Okay.
So if we incorporate that with the break-even analysis and we say that we like in accessories हम पहुंच गए 0 loss पे, अब यहाँ पे ज़्यादा एफर्ट लग रहा है प्रॉफिट पाने में, तो इसके बजाय हम अपने मेन फोन पे फोकस करें, तो क्या हम वहाँ पे ब्रेक इवन एनालिसिस का यूज कर सकते हैं, मतलब अपने एफर्ट रिड्यूस कर दें जैसे अरहम ने बोला.
Okay. I'll give you answer to this question once we reach here. Right now, the answer I can give. I know how to answer it, but your understanding would be difficult because unless you learn several of these concepts, you will not be in a position to understand that. What is it written? Add, drop, replacement. What decision are we taking here? Right now in our kitty there are 3 products A, B and C. What decision do we intend to take here? Should we add, means should we add one more product D, or should we drop, that is should we drop B or C or A? And then what was the other thing? Should we add, drop or should we replace? Neither we are adding D nor are we dropping B, but taking out C and placing D. So your answer would lie here. So can you hold on for some time, maybe a day? Once we reach here, we will be able to explain to you. Any other question? Are there some more questions? Oh, if not, you may kindly leave. Other class will be starting. I'm sorry. You should have also reminded me.